Today, we will be talking about creating content that converts. What we'll be covering is the fail-proof copywriting formula you can use over and over again, even in your videos. And we'll cover 7 ways to add credibility and gain immediate trust. And we'll also talk about irresistible hooks that lead to action from your sellers. Content that converts can be used in all of your marketing. I mentioned videos, but really you can use it in your paid ads, your blog posts, your follow-up emails, your drip campaigns, your SMS scripts, cold calling scripts, direct messages, and you can even use it to attract contractors and agents so that they work on your team. By far, the most impactful result of learning this stuff is that the more you understand about messaging, the better you're going to be at talking to sellers at the closing table. Through this exercise of implementing this formula that I'm about to show you, you're going to be uncovering seller pain points. You're going to end up with a catalog of ways to help build trust and overcome objections. So let's jump into this fail-proof formula. IDA, or we'll just call it ADA. It's a marketing principle that's been around since 1898, if you can believe it. To say that it's been tried and tested is really an understatement. This is the exact formula that the best copywriters at the most elite marketing agencies rely on to produce content that converts to sell anything from soap to motorcycles. And it stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Each part of this is a framework for what the content needs to accomplish. Though it's used to sell many products, here's how it relates to real estate investors. At the attention frame, we want to state the pain that our sellers are experiencing. In the interest frame, we want to showcase how you're going to solve for that problem. And this is going to become the hook. During the desire frame, your credibility is what we need to showcase. It is basically going to show what you've done for others and give them hope that you can do it for them as well. And then action. How do they take the next steps to get started with you? To get an offer, to have you come see their house, to have a conversation, whatever that important next step is, we need to let them know what action that they're going to take. The most important part of getting attention is that your audience must find the information relatable. If they don't think it applies to them, they will keep moving on. This is where you need to make a list of the pain points that your seller is going through and then reflect that back at them. These points are going to turn into the headlines and the general theme of the content. Really, our point in getting their attention is to stop their scroll on social media. But if you're doing this in an email, we want them to open that email. So it applies to subject lines. If we want them to read our blog post, it applies to titles. Really, any marketing that you have, the first thing you have to do is interrupt their day. You need to basically make it so irresistible to read that they drop everything else that they're doing. This is a tall order. Research has shown that you have about 8 seconds to capture somebody's attention. That's the length of the average attention span of the population right now. If you fail to capture the audience in that time, you've lost your chance to convert a potential customer. So this is why it's so important that we reflect their pain back to them in the headline or the first words that they see. Also, you want to make sure that your images are interesting and that they also convey emotion. You're going to want to avoid big blocks of copy. Nothing puts people to sleep faster than seeing a giant chunk of content in front of them. This is why videos are so compelling and so popular. The next step is that we need to make them interested. We're going to put in front of them how we solve their problem. And this is going to be our hook. The hook makes them want to know more, so they keep reading. It's really important here that you match the hook with the pain that they're going through. Every distress situation is going to have different pain points. The best hooks are going to be benefits focused, not features. Emotion sells. People take action based on an emotion, and they use logic after that to justify their actions. Let's take a look at some hooks that I see all the time. Fast close, get a cash offer, We buy as is. Do they pull on your heartstrings? Do they make you feel anything about what's happening or the solution that's offered or really anything? Probably not. Let's look at a different kind of way to write those same kinds of things, but use more emotional language that draws people in and actually makes them feel something. Instead of fast close, let them know they can unload their burden house once and for all so you can get back to what's really important. What about get a cash offer? Imagine the relief you feel when you work with a proven buyer with the cash to close today. That sounds exciting, and it does make me imagine all this relief, right? People will put themselves into the situations that you tell them to put themselves into. We buy as is. As an alternative, we could say, tired of the invasive showings and expensive repair requests from buyers who can't perform. And remember, I said to match the pain point, right? So we could even change this out. We could just say, tired of the invasive showings and tire kickers who can't perform, because we know that escrow is a real problem. That's when a lot of deals fall through. And that means that those sellers have to go all the way back to square one to start all over again. That is one frustrating pain point, but it's a much different pain point than the expensive repair request, which we can imagine that they also have too, but that's more of a financially distressed situation. Whereas the other one, the tire kickers who can't perform, that's really more of a time constraint. They're worried that they're not going to be able to get this deal done quickly enough. Maybe they're out of state. Who knows what the situation is? Do you see how just that little tweak that we made completely changes who we're targeting and what they could be dealing with, what their pain points are? For the most impact, you have to match your hook with the pain. Don't forget that. The next step is that we need to make them want it. This is the desire. Making them want the solution means that you're going to need to overcome some instant objections that they'll have. So you need to establish credibility and create trust. I promised you in the beginning that I was going to cover the 7 ways to create credibility and trust quickly. So let's cover those. They want to believe that this is going to work for them, but they need to see that other people have succeeded. They're going to want to know that others have come through on the other side after working with you and that they're in a much better place. Stories do an incredible job of helping us convey these kinds of feelings, and they give us what we call social proof. You can also show them some upcoming deals, like, hey, I've got another seller just down the road from you who's experiencing the same situation. We just closed on his house and he's feeling such tremendous relief and joy that he can just put this nightmare house behind him. Also, an incredible way and so easy to establish trust is just to use your name and your face in your marketing. It is very hard to build trust or build a relationship with a logo. You can't see the people behind that logo. It's really critical that people can see your face and relate to you one-on-one in human terms. We want to see that human element. Also, share your why. Share about why you've chosen to work with distressed sellers. Of all the occupations that you could have chosen, working with distressed sellers is the one that you picked. Well, why? Let them see your passion for helping people. Also, communicate your core values. Tell them what you believe and how your business reflects those core values. We also want to communicate realistic goals. We don't want to exaggerate what we can do. So, how quickly can you close? If it's within 14 days, then don't say, hey, you can get cash within 24 hours. It makes them very skeptical right at the beginning. What we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate that skepticism right at the front before they even pick up the phone or talk to us. Now, last but not least, we want them to take action. Believe it or not, we need to tell them what they have to do next. It's not always clear to the person reading your post or looking at your marketing what they need to do. So we have to talk about how they can get started. I actually covered calls to action in a lot of depth in a recent live stream called From Audience to Offer. I would recommend that you check that out if you want to know more. We want all of these calls to action, but choose the right one. You can, of course, rinse and repeat this. So you're going to want to go through each AIDA step for every type of motivated seller you want to work with. For example, if you work with people who are going through pre foreclosure or bankruptcy, divorce, probate, anything, what you want to do is just sit down, take a few minutes with a pen and paper, and write down pre foreclosure. What are all of their pain points? And how can you solve for those pain points? To develop your credibility and trust points, you want to identify those pain points. Write as many pain points as you can possibly think of for every situation. Remember to always think in terms of benefits. Make them see their future selves. Make them want that positive outcome that's waiting for them just on the other side. If they would just pick up the phone, if they would just reach out and text you, if they would just send you a direct message. So, this is the exercise. We want to determine what the pain points our sellers are experiencing. We want to decide how we're going to solve for those problems. We want to think about who we've helped before. And I understand if you're a brand new investor, you may not actually have somebody that you've helped before, and that's okay because we can still future cast them into this new life, into this new stress free place that they could be living right now if they would just contact you. And of course, what makes you qualified? I went through all of those 7 ways that you can tell them how you're qualified. Just by showing your face and your name, that helps develop a ton of trust. By talking about other deals or other people that you have helped or talked to, all of those ways will make you qualified. Now, once you're done doing this exercise and you're done going through each of those AIDA steps for your own business, you're going to end up with a list of pain points and solutions. You're going to end up with what amounts to like a recipe. It's a recipe for each distress situation. And that is what you're going to use in your content. You can use it for your scripts, an elevator pitch, and also for quick thinking at the negotiation table. Most investors haven't even thought this much about their business, especially about the pain points and how specifically they're going to solve for those pain points. So when you end up with that list, you know the objections that you're going to come up against. Just knowing their pain means being able to address it with solutions. And that is half the battle. They just want to know that you can do it and have the confidence in you that you actually can do it for them. The other fantastic thing is that once you do this, you only have to do it once. Do it once, use it forever, use it in everything. Social media, your ads, blog posts, email marketing videos, SMS scripts, cold calls, direct messages, and again, to attract contractors and agents because they too have pain points. The biggest challenge for investors is being able to find the time to market consistently. And AIDA is something that the REI social content posts have baked right into them. The Content Club solves for this time crunch that investors have, and it makes it really easy. Copy, paste, post, and you're done. If you want to know more about this Content Club, comment below or hit me up on a direct message. If you're watching the replay, I answer all of the questions.